John, yeah, the unbeaten run comes to an end. It was they were on us from very early on and have managed to get the win. What do you think on the game?
Yeah, they deserved it. They deserved it. I don't think we deserved a goal, to be honest with you. I think that could easily have been a 3-0 win for Winsford, and I don't think any of us, anyone watching, would have complained. Yeah, and you talk about obviously the unbeaten run. I want to instill a winning mentality, a winning habit, but I think before you can do that, you've got to instill a mentality where the lads go out and do the basics, and I don't think we quite did that. And if anyone listens to any interviews from last year, you'll know I'm not going to pull out individuals, but I think as a collective there, I think we weren't anywhere near. And part of me thinks that that's a good thing that it's the fourth game of pre-season and we've got hopefully four more. Or do you look at that as a real worrying sign? I personally don't. If I'm honest with you, I think the first three games you've shown, or at least the group have shown, just what they can do and what we believe we can go and do. I think that today is a really good game for us to have, and I think Winsford really put it to us. And I think the one thing I learned from today was the fact that Winsford wanted it a hell of a lot more than each and every single one of our players in that dressing room, and I think that's what we've got to take from today. I think you don't go into a game of football and win it if you aren't going to go and match the intensity the opposition are going to put onto you. So yeah, no, I'm disappointed, but I'm also kind of in a way glad that we've had a game like that, because you learn from it, and that's what that was today. It was a lesson. It was something that as a collective, and I keep going back to it, as a collective we've got to look at and digest and go into why did we struggle today, what didn't quite work, was it just individuals? I don't think it was. I think there might have been more to that, and that's where we as a staff, we get, I'll say paid, well, I know a lot of us do it voluntary, but that's where we earn our money. You know, this is what we've got to go and do. This is our role at the club. We've got to manage this group of players. We've got to support this group of players. We've done our work early for a reason, so that we can build this group and develop this group, and that's what we'll do. And just because we have one poor performance, which was built around a couple of half decent moments. I mean, the second goal was a great goal. Probably the only time that we really strung a few passes together. I think we had a couple of chances in the second half. I thought Rui, when he came on, showed just how incredible of a job our community teams have done. Because I thought he was probably the best player for the last sort of 30 minutes of the game, and that goes to show what some of the group in there haven't quite done today. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to pull out some positives. There's not too many, but I think the biggest positive is the fact that this is the fourth game of pre-season and we've got a real opportunity to go and learn and develop from this.
Yeah, I suppose one of the positives, we counter-punched quite well. We conceded that goal, and then Paddy scores only a couple of minutes after. And then, but that goal from this new rule about the goalkeeper holding onto the ball for too long, is that something that probably something else that was good to happen in pre-season rather than being caught out in the league?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit bizarre, wasn't it? But I don't think it was anything they didn't deserve in terms of a goal. They've scored two set-piece goals. That's probably my biggest disappointment. But they've then scored a well-worked goal and probably had a couple of other opportunities towards the back end there. Yeah, we made a couple of changes, but I go back to it. I think everyone that's gone onto that pitch has got an opportunity to go and play in that first game of the season. So whether they seize it or not is totally down to them. But yeah, I mean, two set-piece goals is probably my biggest disappointment from today, alongside obviously the lack of intensity. But yeah, bizarre rule, but it is what it is. Maybe it will stop time wasting. Hopefully it does, but I think today it might cut us out a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose it goes to show, we saw a bit last season, how much of a difference a bit of energy, a bit of desire can make above any other tactics, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as tactics, to be honest with you. There's a structure and a shape. I think any manager at this level will probably agree with me that it don't really matter what you try and do on a football pitch. You can do as many patterns of play as you want. You can work on as many different sort of pieces of shape and or whatever you want to call it, but the bare minimum is to work hard. I said it at Aberdeen Collieries away last year. I remember it very vividly that we got outworked that day. We got outworked today against a side that, yeah, they might have been a league below, but I think we look like the league below them, if I'm honest with you. So I think there's a lot of telltale signs there of what we need to do as a group. And like I say, I think this is, whilst it's a big negative that we've been beaten quite comfortably by a side that you'd argue shouldn't be beating us, we've got an opportunity now to go and right the wrong and learn from it, which is good.
And two tough games on paper, the toughest Prescott League above, and same with League. They're good. They're the best challenges we'll have. But in these sort of games against so-called weaker teams, we've had troubles as well. But it's a good challenge to have.
Yeah, well, they weren't a weaker team; they were a stronger team. Yeah. We were weaker today.
So-called, yeah.
Massively weaker. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But in terms of physicality, we got out-muscled, and I think that's what we've got to go and do against these sides that are on paper ahead of us from where we want to be now. But listen, Prescott's a side that we've got to look at and think, you know what, we can be just like them. They built a team around camaraderie. They got promoted. They did extremely well with that. Leek, exactly the same. Built a team around camaraderie, worked hard together, kept a good squad together, worked extremely hard, added a little bit of quality here and there, and got coached extremely well by their manager. Likewise with Prescott. So I think that's where we've got to be, and it'll be a great opportunity for us to go and show how we can get there, because we certainly can. I think anyone will agree with me. I'd like to think they will, and I'm happy to have a conversation with them if they think otherwise. That the group that we've put together here and assembled is a more than capable squad of players to go and win games of football, and that's what we've got to go and do. And it starts at pre-season, but it's a development period, and I want to be unbeaten. We're now not unbeaten, so what do we go and do? We go and beat the teams that are on paper ahead of us, and prove to the world that we are the side that I think we are, and I say that we are.